Good evening and welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting. Today is April 19th and call of order, and everybody is here tonight. Great. So you're saying just the April 14th meeting minutes need to be done?
Yes, I forgot that I'd already asked to approve the 4th and the 6th at the last meeting.
Okay, all right. So Sam and Joe, I need one of you to motion to pass them, approve them. Can't talk.
Can we just sit here all night and wait? I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from April 14th.
Second.
All in favor? All right. We are going to move up F, recognition of Barry Alden, tassel top. Up first. Joe, you're up for that one.
All right. Well, I know Barry is not one who wants recognition, but I think definitely earns it. And I did promise him this will be the last time we put him out in the spotlight. But Barry, yeah, we are formally announcing that you are the Maine Recreation Parks Association's Outstanding Parks Professional Award for the year 2022. I can't say enough what it's meant the last 2 years to work with you in the craziest of conditions. And we could not have done it without you. And on top of that, your years of dedication and service to the park. It's just, it's such a welcoming place, and you definitely make it that way. So thank you on behalf of me and the select board.
Well, thank you very much, Joe. The plaque that I got here is so beautiful. I thought I'd probably, can you see that?
Looks good.
Yeah. But thank you. I enjoy working here. I love this place.
It shows.
You can tell.
Thank you.
Joe, he secretly loves all the recognition because he's been bugging me all evening. If it's time yet. Is it time yet?
Is that Karen? Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Thank you very much, guys.
No,
Barry, thanks for all your hard work.
You guys have to like 2 years, if you really start to think about it, like what changes you made, it's phenomenal. The park looks great and it's continuing to get better. So thank you, Barry, very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And that's it. You don't have to.
Madam Chair, I think Don has his hand up.
Oh.
Yes.
I may be a little bit late to the party, but I would just like to say over the years that I've worked with Barry, I mean, I've been just amazed at the transformation of that park. And I don't think there's a place in there that his hand hasn't touched. And I mean, all those improvements that you see in the cabin, the trail system, any kind of, capital facility down there, the snack shack, the benches, the picnic tables, you name it, he's done it. And he's been a big part of the tassel top in the past. And I'm hopeful that he'll be a big part of it in the future, along with his wife. And so I'm just really thrilled that he was nominated and got this significant award from his peers. So congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Good job, Barry. Thanks. We're lucky to have you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Gonna move on then. All right, new business, consideration of issuing a business license for Brighter Days Daycare, Holly Flynn and Wayne Jones. Thank you for sending those updates.
You're welcome.
As far as the inspections go. So, Holly?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi. Hi. Do you want to tell us who you are and what you're doing?
I'm Holly Flynn. I am hopefully opening another daycare in Raymond. I already operate another daycare in Bridgeton, Maine, Bridgeton Great Start, and I've done that for almost 10 years now. I saw that Creative Kids was going to be closing, and she was looking for somebody to fill her shoes and take over her business. And I met with Diane, and she selected me and wanted me to continue on with running a daycare in Raymond. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to expand and help more kids. I don't know.
and parents. Yep.
Yeah. Prior to this, I have my degree in elementary ed, and I worked for Child Development Services before opening my own school. And so I feel like I have a lot to offer to the community as far as knowledge and supports, things like that for their children. I don't know.
No, that's good. That's good.
I don't like talking about myself. So.
Wayne gave us your reports, which was good. And I think you have just a couple yet to do.
One thing left. We had the strobes that still need to be put in. I know they're going to be put in tomorrow, actually. So after that, we will have met, to my knowledge, everything that Wayne needs from us, as well as the state fire marshal, who's come in and done their inspection as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for Holly?
No, good to hear, Holly. There's a handful of different violations and all of that, so you've gotten taken care of all of it except that one. Good to hear.
Yes.
Yes, and it was just because we had to order the strobes. So.
And I'll make a motion to approve Brighter Days LLC on a conditional basis, as long as all the state fire marshal's deficiencies are corrected.
Second.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Welcome to town.
Thank you.
Good luck,
Good
Holly.
luck.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Consideration of issuing a business license, Bees, Blooms, Floral Design. Hannah, you're up.
Hi. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Funny seeing you on this end of things.
I know, exactly. I used to watch your kids. Yeah.
Yes. So do you want
Go
me
ahead.
to say something?
Yep. Tell us what you're doing.
So my hope is to open a florist shop here in Raymond. Bees, Blooms, Floral Design. It started as a hobby for me, and I just decided with all of the pandemic craziness that I would like to start up a shop in Raymond. We don't have one right now, and I thought it was a good thing to bring to the community. So that's what I have to add.
No, good. And I know your inspection is done and came back good.
Yeah.
Do you have any creativity programs or anything that's going to boost up other than just having a flower shop in the town? Just because they came and they've gone.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I thought about doing, you know how they have those art classes where you can go, they call them the sip and paints. I'm not doing a sip and build, but I thought it would be fun to offer like a flower, like a bouquet building workshop once a month to bring the community in, and offer a build your own bouquet cart to invite the community to come in and, you know, give them the opportunity to build what they want. Let me meet them and help them out. And yeah, so.
Excellent. Well, if there's ever anything that we can do as a town or as a board, we're always into helping. So please bring it to our attention. We can't help you if you don't bring it to us. So
absolutely,
we want you to succeed. So
thank you.
All right. Can I get any more questions?
To approve a business license for Bees, Blooms, Floral Designs.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Best of luck to you.
Best.
Good luck, Hannah.
Thank you.
When I make a mistake with my wife, I'll be in.
Perfect.
Oh my God, Lonnie.
Lonnie,
You'll be in a lot.
Lonnie, can I ask you to speak up when you're talking? I can barely hear you.
Okay. Yes, sir. Can you hear me better now?
His mute's on. God. All right. Consideration of liquor license renewal, Fisherman's Catch. Wayne, do you want to take that one, or Sue?
Yep. Bill isn't here, so I'll let Wayne speak to it.
So, yes, this is the annual, or we did our annual fire and life safety inspection for their liquor license. From the inspection that we conducted on the 1st of April, there was a number of little items that needed to be addressed. And Bill and his brother have addressed all of those, and we're in good shape as we sit here tonight and consider this application.
Okay.
Might as well make it go for 3, Joe.
I'll make a motion to grant Fisherman's Catch their liquor license.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, good. All right, consideration of quitclaim deeds. Sue's not here yet. We're gonna come back to that one. All right.
She's here.
Oh, she's
Sue is-
she's in the closet.
She's in the closet.
Yes.
I don't think she's on though. No.
Yeah, she is.
I'm right
It's
here.
right under
You're
Rolf.
bugged, Joe. I couldn't see you. All right, go ahead. All right, see what happens when they put you in the closet?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sue.
All right, so we're talking about Cole, Patricia Cole.
Yep.
What happened with that one? She passed away. And I reached out to Dennis Cole and found out that was his mother. And he forgot all about the land that she owned and he paid it right up. So that's just the quick claim deed for that.
All right. Can I get a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to grant a quick claim deed to book 35913, page 218, book 3709-079, page 341,
Here, go this way.
book 38553, page 2, for Patricia and Doran Cole.
Second. Second.
All in
that.
favor? All right. So I talked to Sue. I wanted her to come in and give us an update on tax liens and foreclosures because it's been a little while. And I also wanted Sue to go through the procedures as to what she does when she is dealing with liens and foreclosures, because there has been some question from people in the public, you know, that the select board is all about going and taking people's property, and we're not. So Sue, go ahead.
What happens is after the tax season is over, come July, I send out a 30-day notice. After 30 days, if they have not paid their taxes, they go to lien. After 18 months, if they have not paid on that lien, it is automatically foreclosed. And at that time is when I start searching for these people, trying to find them, trying to figure out if, like for Cole, figure out if I can find a family member that might know them or whatever. And then I make a payment arrangement with them. And this year, I wanted to do this like 2 years ago, but COVID hit and I put it on hold. But this year I've upped everybody's payments to try to get them caught up. I didn't want to do that through COVID because a lot of people were lost their jobs or having, you know, money problems.
Fair, Sue.
Yeah, so I have upped it. So most of them will pay off within the 5 years. There's a few of them that I cannot find, which Teresa gave me a good idea for one of them to get her on Facebook, and I did find her on Facebook. So
good.
I'm gonna contact her tomorrow about it. So I'm really down to just one person that I don't have. Well, it's Southern Maine Construction. He and I have been emailing back and forth for the past month or so, and he's finally agreed to a payment arrangement. I sent him the payment arrangement, which is something that the lawyers have written up for me, so it's all in legal jargon. He has so far not returned it to me. I have reached out again, asking him if he's gotten it, and he said no. So tomorrow I'm going to send it out certified mail so that I do get something when he does get it. I've had problems with him in the past, making arrangements but not following through. So But
So it's,
most of them, I know, they call me, they let me know what's going on. I know their history on what's going on in their family, why they're behind. And most of them let me know if something happens and they can't pay. So, you know, I feel good about these people as far as keeping up with the payments and everything.
so and Sue also says too, is when they're in the lien, when a lien's put against them, she does not work out a payment arrangement with them. She doesn't do it until they're in foreclosure, correct, Sue?
Correct.
So Sue works with everybody and she knows everybody's, you know, issues or problems or whatever, which is really good. So, you know, a couple times, like I said, I've heard that, you know, the select board wants to take houses and they don't. We work with you. So yes, I just wanted that
I've
put out
been
there.
here for 15 years. We've never really taken a home.
That's
And
never.
the list, and the list that Sue sent out to us, I asked her if there was really anybody on there that we need to be looking at. And she says they're all pretty good as far as doing the payments and everything, that she wants to give them some more time. So how do you guys feel about that?
I feel it's fair. As long as they're still paying and they're still communicating, that's really what it comes down to. If they still and always communicate and they have a reasonable payment, I think that's the fairest thing we can do. I mean, COVID times, not COVID times, just life is tough. So
right.
Again, we can continue communicating and in my eyes, we would never take your property, your house, you know, and that's really what it comes down to when they start blowing us off. It's almost like
right.
when you finally get money from that past guy, Sue should send him a bill for her time of her keeping on him so he can keep his land. I mean, come on, that's just not right. That's not fair. And that's
right.
really what it comes down to, is being fair to both sides, not the town, not just the, you know, the resident, both.
Well, we have people on this list from 2010, 2011. It's
Yes,
not
we
like we're
do.
hurrying to take their houses.
Right.
And there's
Right.
not a very big list. When you look at how many people we have in town, you know, it's not really that big of a list.
No, it's not.
I mean,
I know
there
when I
are
got on
some
the
big
board.
numbers on there, no doubt. But as long as they're making payments, I agree. We work with them. If they blow us off, then you move ahead.
Right.
Nope.
All right. Thank you, Sue, for coming in and giving us that.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Sue.
You can get out of the closet now.
Oh, good. Thank you.
All right, let's see. Update on plans for Sherry Gagnon Park with discussion of ball field ideas. Joe.
So exciting. So exciting.
I know Lonnie's excited about this. Yeah, so I just kind of want to use this this time to. I've been here for a little bit over 2 years now. This is my third spring tackling Sherry Gagnon Park. There's a lot of different other elements coming into play, and I kind of want to put all my thoughts down that are in my brain and kind of put it on a document just to kind of clearly lay out what's happening and where I think we should go. So I think the first thing is to not understate the water retention at this park. I thought it was overstated until I lost my shoe walking out there. So no one was over exaggerating. I've never seen that wet before, even during a dry season.
If you're standing right where you're talking about and you look around, you could just tell that you're the lowest spot in the whole area. It's a no-brainer that it needs to be lifted up in most areas at least a foot, and that's a big area.
It is, and this is where I think tackling some of these issues. So I'll start with kind of the needs assessment that I've been hearing from community members, and just now that I'm in programs and meeting with families and kind of what they use this park for primarily. I see this as kind of like a community leisurely recreational site. So that means kind of dropping in, playing on the playground, shooting hoops, that type of thing seems to be a lot of the use of the park. I know it's a bus stop, so when we took the playground away, I know a few kids cried. I got the I got the families, but is to build a nice new playground that we'll get there. So that's, to me, spoke that this is really used as kind of a drop-in community type gathering space. I've heard, outdoor pickleball courts, tennis courts, walking paths, dog park, skate park, those type of items constantly from community members. So that's kind of what I've heard and what I think is being used right now. I kind of like to give an update on. Oh, go ahead, Sue. Oh, I saw you waving your hand.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's not the official hand wave. I'd like to give an update on Little League right now, kind of what's happened in the last 2 to 3 years. So in 2020, there's no Little League in Raymond. Numbers were down. It was a different time. It was very scary at that time. So nothing happened. In 2021, the Little League board decided to try to give it another push. A lot of the volunteerism had dropped that year. A small group did manage to run T-ball at Cherry Gagnon. And then the minors and majors divisions were acquired by Great New Gloucester Little League. So that's kind of how there was not enough to have in Raymond. So the numbers dropped significantly. This fall, we tried to make a push to kind of rebuild the board. And we had 1 or 2 firm responses. So it was a very low response rate. That was a push between the current board members and myself. So we tried to get as many people on board. As you guys know, Little League runs off a parent-run board. So the town can't run that. I assist in any way possible. Do some of the bigger picture things like field maintenance or stuff like that, but it really has to be community driven to succeed. So
2 out of the 5 of us, Joe, were president for 10 plus years for Raymond baseball. That's when it used to be the Cal Ripken League, and we used to have, I think Little League was what was that, the girls softball or something?
Yes.
Little League, and then we had Babe Ruth, and then we had also Cal Ripken. So it's too bad that the numbers are dropping so much, because we would be looking at a couple teams for every youth age all the way up through, and even having a strong senior league, what we called it, which was 13 to 15 years old. And it's too bad that it fell off, but it's great that Great New Gloucester's
they took it on. They did. So that was one of the during the off season, when we knew we were getting a firm board in place, that I offered to take on T-ball, coach, pitch, whatever I could, but realizing that it wouldn't make sense for me to do it 1 or 2 years and then transition to Great New Gloucester. It'd be kind of confusing. So Great New Gloucester said, no, we'll do T-ball to majors or whatever division they can run to acquire that. So they did end up acquiring that. The board, Raymond Little League board, officially voted to merge. So it's a 2-year process. So they have 1 representative right now in Raymond, and after next year they'll decide what to do. So it kind of buys us a year. And it's just a national trend too. Little League numbers are down everywhere. There's lacrosse, there's basketball 4 seasons. There's a lot of competing factors with the spring season right now. So that's kind of the update on Little League and Raymond, the status. I then kind of was trying to think of Cherry Gagnon Park and kind of like a SWOT analysis, strength, weaknesses type of thing. So I'll go over those really briefly, but it's a very high trafficked area. Driving by that cut through between Mill Street and Main Street, there's always someone there playing sports, anything like that. It's very active for an area I didn't know until I worked here. So that to me says it's high traffic and people know about it. I think trying to fix some of the signage. Nathan and his crew did help with some of the dead trees around, so you have clear vision of the park, stuff like that. So I think if we get a two-way facing sign, that'd be nice there to dedicate the park again, the Sherry Gagnon Memorial Park, and just give it more of an identity there. It is flat, as you guys know. That actually has an advantage, like the basketball court, that's able to be built up, and it seems to hold up very well. So anything like a tennis court, pickleball court, where you need to bring in earth and build it up and have kind of shelving the water off and drainage, this is actually a really good place to do something like that. It's got adequate parking. Eric there, we've noticed the parks foreman has been a huge advantage of getting that first field in good condition, the front field. We actually have a rental that is looking to rent it for the spring and summer. So that's another way we can generate revenue. And so that's exciting to see. Some of the weaknesses is that water retention. Again, that's just, to get the playground in, we have to have a really strong, long dry spell to get any heavy equipment there. So that's why the playground equipment, stuff like that, takes a little bit longer with this park. It's just the nature of it. I do want to address the light poles. This is something that with low leak standards has completely changed the direction. It has to be LED lights, it has to be a galvanized steel pole, and it has to be concreted in. So what we currently have there, according to Little League, they will not use it or cannot use it on that field. So that poses a big concern. So that's just digging into the history of the park and kind of what the current standards are. That's kind of what's happening right now. So with that, I'd love to answer any questions and any thoughts on that.
Well, I know the light poles too. We volunteers went down there and did it. And Lonnie, I think you donated the scoreboards.
Yeah.
But it was all, I was going to say, I've been on the board going on 9-10 years. And so
yeah,
it's been back 15. A ways.
It's probably 15, maybe 16, 18 years or so when we bought them.
9, yeah, almost 20 years ago.
Yeah. And I'd be willing to purchase a new one. Absolutely. And do and help with the improvement of that park. The park means a lot to my family, so we would definitely help in a handful of different ways, Joe. So however this goes down the road, I'm definitely with you.
I appreciate that. That's I do think if we're going to do, I think keeping that front field is a no-brainer. I think that can be used recreationally, especially for future programming. So I do think we should, if we're going to invest in the ball field there, it should be that first field when you see the park. I do think that backfield, I think we need to move in a different direction. I'm working on a USTA a tennis grant for tennis courts. We are eligible because we have no public tennis courts in the town. So that really is like the first qualifying event for that. So that's one opportunity we can pursue as well.
So the walking path, I made Nathan walk that to see what it was like. And I think in that back corner, he got into some serious stuff. And he goes, nope, not going to work back here. Right, Nathan?
Yeah, the problem is no drainage down there. It's flat. He's pretty much said it all. It's a swamp.
Yeah, no, that could be. I was thinking also maybe walking past to the playground area at least. It's going to be. I think anything like that, you're going to bring in some earth to build that up. I know they have grants for walking trails. There's some that are kind of ADA accessible too. So they come in and they'll make it, flat. They use some type of material that keeps it from erosion, stuff like that. So that's also another area. But a lot of people have been using Tassau Park, honestly, as walking. That's been during the off season.
Yep.
I think it would be a running path. Once you hit the corner of the playground and then you got to the edge of the multi-purpose field, you would slow down because you would be getting eaten alive by mosquitoes from that back swamp area that was always so wet.
You'd set a lot of personal bests.
So this is what you're looking to do then for this possibly?
That's kind of my vision idea of where to go.
All right, so I want to put this up for people that are at home and don't see this. There's a multi-purpose field here. There's tennis courts and pickleball courts here. The playground's here and the baseball's up here. That's pretty cool. And a walking path around the whole thing. As I'm doing this. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I think if we kind of, I look at Donna Beth Lippman and Wyndham.
Yep.
It's a park that we, is kind of similar, donated, and they just keep putting different features in there. It's a really great place to go. So that's why I kind of see the direction for Sherry Gagnon Memorial Park.
And the big playground climbing unit is going to go down there at Sherry Gagnon? Okay.
Correct, yes. Yeah.
All right, great.
Who owns
Thanks, Joe.
the land behind it?
Yeah.
All of that. I mean, and there's still a bunch of land back there, isn't there? That's really has never been touched.
No. Go ahead, Nathan.
Where's that?
No, I was just going to point at Teresa. We met with that woman.
Oh, there
yes,
is.
I have too. So yeah, there is some connectivity of walking trails as well.
Well, it literally goes up to the edges of our property. Maybe another 3-4 feet, but it's pretty much squared in. It's so weird. It's like a section that was cut into there for Sherry Gagnon, and the rest of the property all around and behind belongs to another family, one family. So yeah, so we did meet with them. We were thinking about possibly getting another walking trail out to the mosquito or whatever, but it would be pretty in depth.
Yeah, I mean, and you would think that if you did have it there, in order to alleviate some bugs and things, you'd want to pull back the trees. That was what I was looking at, is just being able to take down some trees so it just gets more sun, it gets all of that. And this plan looks like it's utilizing that whole back corner. So
right.
It seems like it's the most growth of trees there too.
So another big issue we have down there is security. Yeah. When they used to have the wooden structures back there, all kinds of things were going on back there. What would be your idea for that?
Well, I think Nathan and his crew's already kind of started doing that. We kind of created better sight lines, at least from driving by. So we've taken out a few of the dead trees. We can even thin out some of the trees on the other side. So I think any type of park, and ideally you want your playground set kind of in the closest to the parking spaces, but we don't have any room for that now. So I think just creating that sight line from when you're driving by is probably the best way to prevent that.
Okay.
How's the blockhouse? Is the blockhouse still in good shape?
We're working on that.
Well, they put an addition on a couple of years ago.
Yeah, Eric's been cleaning out kind of the Little League, the storage shed, and we're looking at trying to create more, having that more of a maintenance shed with tools and stuff that we can use to help groom the field or take care of the park. So that's being cleaned out. The concession stand, it hasn't been touched for 2.5 years, so it needs a little bit of updating and work, but it's got good bones.
I mean, there was a lot of things, good times down there. So that's sad that we can't get the kids back in there to do it.
A lot of good times.
Yeah.
How's the basketball court fending? Is it holding up well, or is it?
Yeah, it actually is on. Nathan and the crew fixed that hoop. They did a great job with that. So that now we have a full court. We can use the actual the pavement that they use, it's holding up really well, no cracks. So
Yeah.
we can probably get away with another year or two of not resurfacing. So it's getting pricey, those type of projects.
Absolutely. In that rectangle, is that batting cage?
Yeah, so we did take out the one that's broken. We're gonna use it as a picnic because it's a high spot. We're gonna kind of redo it with stone dust, put the picnic tables up there as a picnicking spot. And we do still have the one off to the right near the front field. So we'll still use that as a batting cage, but we did take down that one near the basketball court.
Joe, is your plan to phase all this in?
Yes, yeah, this is big picture, 2 to 10 years, depending on how it shapes out. But I do think pursuing the tennis court, pickleball courts is going to be the first phase of this because of the grant availability, and pickleball has just blown up. I mean, we have over 70 people registered for our pickleball program indoors right now. So once indoors ends, it's hard to keep them, and they've asked for outdoor pickleball courts. So we've talked about utilizing the basketball court, during the day, or where they can bring their own nets. But I would love to get their own site. It would be used all the time.
Great, that's great.
Did you throw mostly seniors who are playing pickleball? I assume.
Sorry.
What's that, Joe?
Is it mostly seniors who are playing pickleball?
I would say
yeah. I mean, actually, for all from about. There's people in there that I know that are in their 20s up through 80s. So it picks up a pretty broad swath.
And where are you playing now?
Right now, Raymond Elementary School. We have 3 courts in that gym. Okay. It is tight. I played doubles. You're right, Rolf. It's it seems like it's geared for senior citizens, but I was playing. They're schooling me, so it kind of levels off the competition. So it really can be played by anyone. It'd be kind of a fair and very athletic event. So it's really cool.
And it's and they usually and they schedule it such that there's beginner groups, and then there's intermediate and more advanced, so that it's a good experience for all of them that are playing.
Yeah, I do think it's sad about Raymond Little League, though, having coached and umpired and all that stuff. It used to be a gathering place for parents and their kids.
Yes, it was. Yes.
I can't believe we don't have enough kids interested in playing Little League.
And that
saddens me.
No age throughout. There's enough to put a team together, because we had every age.
Right.
Yeah, we did.
I remember when I took it over from you, Teresa.
Yep.
You had 7 softball teams, girls softball teams the year before I started.
It was huge.
And then dropped right down when we, but still 7 softball teams. And then it dropped down.
That place was always busy down there. And the food that they were selling, and the candy, and the parents with
I'm a Little League. That was my childhood as well. It's really tough to see it like this.
Yep.
I do think there's hope. I do think there's some strong numbers at T-ball, strong numbers at coach pitch. I do think the volunteer piece is is tough for parents right now. Because I know just me taking on the programs has helped a lot. People are just like, oh, this is great. All I can do is just show up and coach, and I'll handle all the administrative stuff. So I do think that's one of the key points, Lonnie, is that there just is there's no board, no volunteers right now to kind of grow this or keep it going. So I think that's one of the pieces. So I do think there's always hope. So maybe in the next year.
What the tools that we use to reach out to the kids to make sure that all parts of the town are knowing about it. You feel good with all of that?
Yeah, my email list keeps growing so as people register and do things with Raymond Parks and Rec, my email list gets bigger. So right now I'm reaching about 700.
Good.
So in 2.5 years, we've gathered 200 unique emails. So that again helps with my marketing and anything else we want to put forward. So that's what we use too to see who's interested in the Little League board. So I put that out and got one or two.
Did you get messages out through the school at all?
No, they won't. It's kind of tricky.
No.
Which is probably why people don't know about it, because it back in the day,
Yeah.
that's how you did it. You
My
sent a
daycare-
message out through the school, and then 100 kids would show up to register, for Little League.
No, they don't do that anymore. And only if it has something to do with the school will they send it around.
It's kind of an interesting issue because we participate with them and use our media to help, get their messages out.
Yep.
And, whether it's the electronic sign, whether it's the road runner, website, so forth. And so I was pretty disappointed when they took this perspective, but I guess they have their reasons for it. They feel it would dilute their messaging. But I'm with you. I think that if you're doing programming for young people, the school is the logical way to get that word out. But I guess they now have a policy that doesn't allow.
They do.
They don't allow us. They don't allow anyone to use their messaging, but they want to use our messaging, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe we put a scrolling banner across on the bottom of the school board meetings when they broadcast it out of our studio.
That's a good point. Kevin he can give us an answer on that one.
The thing is, nobody watches those meetings.
Moving right along, let's see. Joe, thank you. Thank you for all the work you're doing down there. And, we're hoping that, again, it comes back to the same group of parents that do things all the time. That's what we found, that there's got to be new blood all the time coming in. And I think that's where we're missing a gap there.
And I'll be there to support them. That's all we can do. And I do think there's a possibility next year. So we'll look at it and we'll see what we can do.
Well, and we're here to support you too. So yes. So thank you, Joe.
Yes.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks.
All right, moving on. Consideration of funding the Cumberland Oxford Lakes Area Broadband Collab. Don Willard.
Okay, so where to begin? Where to begin on this one? It's been, a number of years that we've been talking about broadband. And so I guess tonight, I think I have what I believe to be a very positive direction. And it comes after a year. The most recent iteration of communities meeting together has been about a year, 10 communities. It was originally a smaller number of communities than that, working independently of GPCOG. There was along the line a decision to work with GPCOG, and some communities in the group are GPCOG members, some not. GPCOG agreed to do the initial work, which included things like geomapping, getting a consultant to work with the committee's members from each town, participating towns, through several informational meetings and then interviews and meetings with internet service providers. So I guess to kind of get a feel for what each town wanted to do and what kind of resources might be out there in the private sector. So I've been attending this thing for a number of years, but when it came to be a discussion about technical issues, I asked Kevin Woodbury, our network administrator, who's with us tonight, to become that person. And because in previous meetings, I'd seen Kevin come and do presentations and actually, I think, definitely enlighten the folks there as to where things were going and what we should be looking at. So I have Kevin here tonight to, perhaps a good place to start might be to say, so what is it we're trying to do and why? And then I can get to the ask and where we go from there. But I think it's important to understand that there is a variability here in the way that you approach the provision of broadband internet or fiber to the premises, however you want to look at it. I'll let Kevin explain that first, if you would, Kevin.
So what we're trying to address basically is build an architecture that will serve the three areas in Raymond that we need to serve. And those areas are residential, business, and municipal, the government network. And with the real way to address this is through a fiber optical network. I mean, there are lots of other ways that people are addressing it, and most of us now have, a coaxial based network with spectrum. That's not a network that can be easily addressable to these three types of accesses. And so residential, we're looking at using what's called a passive optical network, which allows you to share fibers. So one fiber continues on through multiple houses. And so you're basically multiplexing the information on those fibers. So that is a less expensive way of getting into a fiber network. But what we're talking about for a speed on this network is 1 gigabit symmetrical. So that means you have downloading things, you can do it at 1 gigabit per second, or uploading them, doing backups or sending things to other people, sending videos to other people or whatever. So we're going to make that our base service level for everybody. And there's several things that go along with that and one of them is called latency. So latency is when you send a packet to somebody, how long does it take to get a response from them? Because the way the internet protocol works is every time a packet's sent out, you get a response back saying they received that packet. And so we're talking about a latency of less than 30 milliseconds to the ISP vendors interconnect. And when their interconnect means there are several tiers of providers. So Spectrum connects to the next level of provider, and then they connect up to the tier 1 base network for the whole country. And what we're trying to do is impose a good service level so that when you make a phone call or a video call, or somebody's doing a medical analysis of your heart rate, or any type of device that requires very good timing, you need to have that latency below a certain level. So that's one of the things we're trying to do, is making sure that we get those latency levels and things like that into what we have when we build our base network. One of the other things is a lot of the people probably have heard of IP version 4. So that's the Internet Protocol version 4, which has been around since, I guess it was developed in the 60s, rolled out in the late 70s, and been here for a long time. Everybody has an address. Well, the problem is there are more people and devices than there are addresses available in that version of the protocol. So what we need to make sure is the vendor we go with supports the IPv6 protocol, which basically has, from what we look at now, an infinite number of addresses. So, and the reason you have to have addresses is because if you want to be a business or have your own address for your house that you can make sure somebody can get to, or you want to have, say that I want to have a server at my house so that my friends can look at, my pictures at my house, or any number of things. They can always get you at your address. Right now, you share addresses and you share ports and addresses. So we're trying to make a structure that will support the current and future needs of Raymond. And that structure is based on IPv6. So we want to make sure that's definitely a part of it. Now for businesses, we want to start at symmetrical 1 gigabit per second service, but businesses require a lot more bandwidth, and they can require, and we're talking about 10 gigabits per second. And these are standards. I mean, if you go out into the rest of the world, including the United States, the base level is 1 gigabit per second for residential and 10 gigabits per second available to businesses. So we want to make sure that that's available, and we're looking at multiple vendors that allow us to have those things. And fiber is one of the best ways to provide that. And we're looking at better performance with latency and better performance with jitter. What we also want to have for businesses is when we put this fiber in, we want to have what's called a fiber ring, because your business has to be up, and you don't want to, if somebody's line gets cut, if there's a storm. So we want to put a ring, and basically we can put a ring around one of the lakes or something. We can create a ring in town so that if some place gets cut, you have service still, and your business can continue on. So redundant pass to the ISP onto that ring also is one of the things that we want to do. So even if you in town lose part of your ring, one line gets cut, you still have the connectivity. But if your ISP loses a link, you want to have them have a separate link somewhere into your ring. So these are things that people don't think about unless they are in businesses, and if you look at the medium-sized businesses, and these are items that everybody looks at. But now in these days, everybody's communication, TV, phone service, everything is going through the internet, medical, everything is all data now is flowing through the internet. So it's critical that we build a network that supports these things. Then the third component is the municipal network. We do backups every night, hundreds of gigabytes backing up over the network because we need to get the data off-site. We back up locally in the building that the server's on, but we have to get it off-site because if the building catches on fire, we lose our backups. And these are requirements. The state, imposes these requirements saying we must protect our data with off-site backups. And then to do that, you need a network that can go at least 10 gigabits per second, back up that kind of data. And that's what happens if you look in the cloud, all these data centers in the cloud, they back up to other states because they have these high bandwidth connections. What we're trying to do is set our own local offsite backup so that we can make sure we get these things done. Right now, we back up from the fire station to the town office and from the town office to the portable and from the portable to the town office. But we can't, because we have a fiber link that we put in about, 15 years ago, Don, I think.
Right.
We put in our own fiber link from the town office to the portable. It's underground. It hasn't failed in 15 years, and we can get those backups done. But the fire station, which has its own servers and phone server down there, cannot do the backups because it takes like 2 days to do a full backup. So we get a full backup run, and then we run incrementals, up to the town office. So it's very hard, and that's just one example of why you need that kind of bandwidth to do things. But go ahead, Don.
I was going to say, so, in a more of a layman's, terminology, what we're trying to do is to put in a system that will be to the degree possible. And I think with Kevin involved, it's going to be the highest degree possible, something that's future-proof, build it once, build it right. There's going to be variability. Some towns are looking at other options that, that we're not looking at. And so this phase that we're going into now, phase 2, the development phase, will be working with Mission Broadband, as the other communities will be, to put together a request for proposals, community specific, to get back some actual real world information that we can use to begin to look at the costs and to see what private sector vendors would be interested. And to be honest, I let Kevin speak to this. There are only maybe one vendor at this point that looks like it might be the vendor that we could work with. We won't name them, but because
we can name them.
Well,
I mean, GWI has, and their business model is for us to create a network that's owned by the town but run by an ISP. So that allows us, if we do that, we can make sure that the best possible cost model is implemented for people at the lower end of the spectrum, as well as business people get the type of service they need, and we can monitor what happens. I mean, we don't have to run it, and but we need to allow the people to get the service they need. And one of the things that GWI does is they come in, they say, well, we're going to run fiber to every building, whether people use it or not. It will be there so they can use it. And that's, even though it's a little more expensive up front, in the long run, it's way less expensive.
And to me, that's the big distinction between that company and some of the other companies and the approaches they want to take, which is some of them are amalgam of technologies. But, I'm with Kevin, and to do it right and to do it that one time. And who knows exactly what it's going to look like. But I think it's going to be a combination of, federal, state, local, private sector resources. I mean, I like Kevin's idea there of town ownership and private sector management, but that may or may not come out to be. But we've got to do this development work to be ready, because it is with the American Rescue Plan funds, that are expected to flow in. We've got to know what we want, have a plan to get what we want, and have some cost information and interested vendor and be ready to go. And that's what this is all about. And so I'm asking for $8,000, up to $8,000 from our American Rescue funds to help, to fund, rather, not to help, but to fund Mission Broadband, which is our consultant that is working with all of the towns, to develop the RFP, help us evaluate the proposals, and then prepare a summary of each vendor proposal, and basically creating a plan specific to our town. And so that's the next step. And as I say, I'm optimistic. Can I guarantee that we're going to find something that's going to work out and we're going to fund it immediately? I can't, but I'm feeling much more optimistic than I ever have, and the money is going to come, and so we need to be ready.
Well, and I hate, I don't like throwing the acronyms around, and I can't, it's like, this is like an hour or two presentation. But one of the things I didn't mention that we really need is service level agreements. This is a business. We need to make sure that we have those agreements and they're monitored and reported on, because right now, if you have a problem with Spectrum, and I don't know if anybody's dealt with Spectrum that much, but you get a hold of them and they tell you there are really no service level agreements. We're paying, and that's not the point. We're paying at the town office $1,200 a month, basically, for pretty slow fiber connection. And there's no service level agreement with that. It's a best effort on their part, is what I always get every time I call. I would tell you, though, Spectrum has great technicians, but other than that, it's really hard to get a cost-effective, good service from them.
Is GPCog sitting on a pile of money to do broadband? Is that why they're in charge of the project?
No, they're not sitting on a pile of money at this point, but the likely outcome is that, as with the monies that they administer for federally and state administered road programs, they're likely to be a part of the mix because of their role as a regional council of governments and provider. But no, they're not. They specifically themselves are not sitting on a pile of money. They're basically, in this instance, a convener of communities, and the majority of the communities are part of GPCog. As I say, the first phase was at a no cost with GPCog as the administrator. The second phase is equal pay. There's not a surcharge or anything on us for non-membership, but they're leading this from the administrative standpoint. Mission Broadband is actually the outfit that the community selected to do the work. So not money, but they are in the administration of it.
So chances are down the road, they're going to be the ones who are going to be the contact to get the grants and the money from either the state or the feds to run this thing. Or to make it get built out, I should say.
I don't know if I would, it's possible. I mean, the state's going to have a big say in it. Even the county's in on this thing. That's where the money is right now, but the federal money to the state, the federal money to the county, but that's possible, highly possible, but I don't know. Kevin, you've been attending with Melissa the meetings more recently on this phase of the project. Do you have any insight in that? How GPCog is going to relate to the financing?
I don't think that, it's hard to say. The state's going to come up with some money, and they've got actually a big chunk right now, and I'm not sure how they're going to put it out. What they're trying to define is speed levels of what's acceptable, and they're still at the very low end of what should be the minimum level. So we do one of the things is having 100 megabit uphill service, transmitting out, and we don't have that right now, and Time Warner does not offer that unless you get their fiber at $1,200 a month. So we do qualify for what the current level is for some funds, but I'm not sure how much that's gonna.
And so I think there will be some, fair allocation of the funds. And so, as I said, every community is going to be, in some ways different. And so, as I said, I wanted to get Kevin in on the ground floor, and he has been for years actually in these meetings and so forth, to help us decide, and as he's outlined, what we ought to be doing. But our plan will probably be somewhat more sophisticated than some of the more rural areas.
Well, a lot of people are trying just to get service to the unserved people, that's horrible this day and age. And what we're trying to do is build a network that's the network, if we put it in the way it should be, the fiber itself will last for 50 or more years. I mean, this is like a, future-proof thing, because you can change your switches, you can change all the back end equipment, but the fiber is good. I mean, the fiber we're putting in can run, up to a terabit per second. I've seen, tests on that. So we're going to put in something that used to be very expensive, and now it's dropped way down, almost as cheap as putting in coax.
Right. So we're going to have what we need to proceed with or without GPCog, I guess. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but.
Yeah, no, I've got it. I'll make a motion to have Don Willett on behalf of the select board sign the MOU with GPCog.
And funds from ARPA.
And using the funds from ARPA. Yeah.
Thank you.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? All right. On the same subject, consider appointments of representatives to the CoLab Steering Committee and the Broadband Committee. Dawn.
So they would prefer that at least one of these representatives be an elected official. And so I did reach out to Rolf, knowing his engineering background and his very analytical bent. And I guess if you're still interested, Rolf, I would propose that you might be the attendee or the representative, unless somebody else had a burning desire to do it. And I would also suggest that, Kevin Woodbury, because of his technological expertise as a citizen of the town, he's agreed to be on this committee as well. Now, I don't really understand the difference between the two committees that they put together, but my sense would be that Rolf would have if there is a more, influential position of the two, that would be the one I'd propose Rolf for. As I said, if he's still willing, he was on vacation. I wasn't able to nail that down 100% with him.
I told him to put his name down. In Daycare, we say not it.
Yeah, you said to go with him. So I thought it was going to be on the agenda, but I don't. Yeah.
I mean, I said I'd do that as long as Kevin was on there too.
Yes. And I'm still going to be, Kevin. As far as the town representative, I'll still be the town representative. And we also have, we're very fortunate, our new administrative assistant, Melissa McConkey, is a long-term Spectrum employee. So she has former employee. So she has basically given us a lot of interesting insights and information.
That's great.
So she's really been good. She's been meeting lately with Kevin on the tail end of this first phase, but I'm excited. I think it's going to happen. So
hopefully it comes into fruition.
Yeah.
So I don't think you need a motion. So Kevin, Don, and Rolf.
Right. The two representatives will be Kevin for this particular new committee they're putting together. These two committees will be Rolf and Kevin, and I'm still going to be the town's representative attending, and Melissa attends as well.
I don't think you need a motion for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, guys, for stepping up to this and doing this. Rolf got nominated because he wasn't here, but Kevin, this is your avenue. So yeah.
If anybody ever has any questions, wants to go through more in depth, just give me a holler.
Thanks, guys.
When I have insomnia, Kevin, I'll give you a call.
Yeah.
All right. Next, consideration appointment of election clerks nominated by Democratic Party. Sue.
Well, every 2 years, the parties caucus normally. This year, the Democrats didn't caucus, and they had some sort of a statewide something or other. I'm not quite sure what it was. And the outcome of that were two representatives or two people from Raymond who said they would like to be election workers. One has been before, Janice Miller, and the other, Edward Kranich. I don't recall now if he was on the planning board or the ZBA, but he's been served on boards before. And they put their names forth. The Republicans did caucus, but all the people that were at the caucus that I attended were already voters and were running for office, so they are disqualified from being election workers anyway.
All right. So, oh, sorry. We don't need any. Do we need a motion?
Yeah,
Yes,
you need
please.
a motion to accept the appointments. I'll make that motion, being a good Democrat.
Second.
Is that why you and I don't get along? I mean, seriously?
Second.
Rolf wants to tell you what his thoughts are too, but any more discussion? All in favor? We gotta get Sam better so we can stick in his 2 cents there. All right, consider appointment of warden for June 14th primary election. Sue.
And this election will be a multi-election. We'll have a state primary as well as a municipal and RSU 14, probably a referendum. But we have to have a warden for the state elections, and we'll elect a moderator for the town portions of that at the polls. So this is for the state portion.
Appoint Suzanne Carr as a warden for the June 14th primary and the referendum.
Second.
All in favor? All right, good job. All right, public comment. Anybody? Going once? Twice? All right, selectman comment.
So what happened with the nomination papers? Have they all been turned in? And
They
I didn't
have
turn mine
been.
in.
We have 2 that are running for select board. And on the screen, they are sitting over in that direction from me. No, my screen's backwards this way. The budget finance, there were 3 seats and 2 people running for them, Karen Lockwood and Deanna Lee. And there were 2 seats for the RSU board because we had 2 vacancies. Anna Keeney left before the end of her term, and she moved, and Jenny Cummings passed. So we have 1 for 1 year, and that's Jody Carroll is running for that. And the 3-year term is Char Jewel.
So go back to the budget finance a second. How many members are on that board that we have seats for that I think we came down from 7 to 5, didn't we?
Yes.
No,
We might want to think about that for next year.
We went from 9 to 7.
We went from 9 to 7.
Okay,
And
and
we haven't kept a 7-member board since.
Right. So if these 2 people get on, how many members will we have on there then? Because I think we're going to be missing one again.
It'll be 1
Yeah, we'll
short.
still be missing one because there's 3 seats open and there's only 2 people running for them.
All right, so 6. All right. All right. Any other public comment? I mean, selectman comment? All right, town manager's report.
Oh, I'd first like to start really with more of a, I guess, a comment than a report, and that would be, I see Sharice is here, Sue is here. And so, thank you to Sharice for her first budget, and I think she did a great job. And for Sue Look for her patience and the numerous iterations of, not only meeting notices and other procedural things to get us ready for our referendum vote. So I'd call out those 2 in particular, but the department heads in general, and to the Board of Selectmen for all the meetings you've all been attending. Thank you for that. And so I'll get to the dates of the meetings and so forth, but it's always good to get through that process. I used to mark the beginning of spring with the annual town meeting. We had a March town meeting. Somehow I always felt better after the mid-March, but these days I feel good when we get through all that process. So thank you all for your work on that. And so next I'd like to talk about some dates. So confirming dates for our upcoming regular meetings. We have May 10th and June 21st. All good. And then we have the reminder of upcoming election schedule, which is, as we draw through the process, as I've said, it's getting shorter, but we still have some key dates to go. We have, May 18th, which is a budget vote at the Wyndham High School Auditorium at 6:30. And that would be for your RSU. We have the May 27th deadline to change parties to vote in the primary election, June 14th. We have June 9th. Deadline to request absentee ballots June 14th would be a state primary for municipal officers and RSU 14 budget elections at the Jordan Small Middle School from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sue, have we set a date for the public hearing on the referendum?
That will be on May 10th at the next selectmen's meeting.
Okay, so that one everyone wants to be aware of as well. So I guess that's what I have.
Okay. All right, so as far as executive session goes, we are not done the discussion of labor contracts and proposals. That got put off. But can I have a motion to go in executive session regarding code enforcement violations updates?
You're muted, Joe.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session per code enforcement violation update pursuant to 1 MRSA subsection 4056H.
Second.
Have a second. Your second?
I second.
All right, I didn't hear that. Sorry. Oh my God, the hearing's bad. All in favor? Can I have a motion to come out of executive session?
Move to come out of executive session.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? All right. Bye,
Good night,
guys.
everyone.
Be
Good
safe,
night.
everybody.
Have a good evening. Bye.